Okay, this video is going to be about making something out of nothing. Now, most of my videos are garden and farming related, and I'm sure you have other people out there with different skills who can apply this in their areas of expertise. Not that I'm an expert on farming or gardening. Alright, now, you see these little Jiffy biodegradable container? I bought 60 of these at everybody's favorite spot, Walmart. Don't comment on that. And it ended up being $6 for 60. Now, if you're a recreational gardener, that's a fair price. But if you're going to be going and doing this on a large scale like I am, that's going to bleed you dry slowly. So, anytime I've gone to a nursery and purchased anything, we always keep their plastic containers. These things last for years. These little Dixie cups, I was in catering. I just found all these little Dixie cups in my shed over here, and I know they'll never be used, so poke a hole in the bottom. Now we're planting in them. Another example is these larger red Dixie cups. Everyone knows these, you know, party time. Well, my family burns through these like crazy. For some reason, they don't like drinking out of a damn glass like everyone else. So they waste these Dixie cups. We go through probably 4 or 5 a day, maybe 6 or 7. Kind of drives me nuts. So I started keeping them. Before you know it, I had a ton. And we're using them now for our projects. So we've turned waste into progress, I guess you could say. Instead of using these for one day, now we'll use them for a month or 2, maybe longer. They will fall apart eventually. Another example is, I used to live in a condo. I had no room or no money to really get my gardening going. I'd take a simple cardboard box like this, fill that baby up full of good dirt, you have yourself a planter. And then at the end of the season, it falls apart. You work it into your dirt, and it's gone. Another free fix. Another aspect of making something out of nothing I'd like to talk about is volunteer plants. Like these strawberries here, they get runners off them. All these little shoots like this, right? They vine out, they create more small plants. I started with maybe 6 strawberry plants I bought at the nursery down the street here about 5 years ago. Now I have hundreds of strawberries, and they just keep expanding. I mean, I have so many I don't even know what to do with them all. And as you can see, I got them in old coffee cans. Plastic, not metal. Let's talk about more volunteer plants. I will not spend money on flowers, but I have flowers. They make my yard look nice, they attract bees, so I like to mix them in with my vegetables. This is a viola. These are violas, and they pop up this time of year. You let these dead heads, when they die and dry up, pluck them, throw them on the ground. They will germinate seeds, and you will have some nice flowers to mix into your garden. I know a lot of the ladies will appreciate that, but you need to be able to learn how to identify these things when they're young, so you don't pull them, because they're not weeds. So we'll go over some of that. This is another one. That's lobelia. And these plants can vary in color. Because see, this one's kind of like dark purple. They can be almost black. Now this one over here is more green with a tinge of this like purple color. And then, you know, the little blue flower that pops up. If you can identify these early on, you can start dividing them before you start pulling out weeds, because you don't want to kill these little guys. But if you don't know what you're pulling, you can be missing out on some great stuff. And of course, the king of all volunteer plants are volunteer tomatoes. And the reason why you want heirloom tomatoes is because they will continue to produce and be consistent over the years. Heirloom, I believe, means it's a variety of plant that's been established for over 50 years. So if you have Roma tomatoes and you let them rot on the ground at the end of the season, you will germinate seeds the following year. But if you can't identify them, you'll never know. So let's take a look down here. This is little baby tomato seeds sprouting. And that's kind of what they look like when they come up. Now, as they get older, they're a lot easier to identify. Right there, there's a nice little cluster. And tomato plant is probably the first plant you'll be able to recognize as you start gardening. So I have about, I don't know, there's about 50 or 60 of these things coming up here. I know there's hundreds of seeds in this area. And another tip, if you have hybrid tomatoes, not an established heirloom variety, they will revert back to their most primitive form, kind of like a cherry tomato, because they aren't heirloom. They're these like genetically modified, I guess, or hybrids, whatever you want to call them. So you may have a beautiful variety one year, but your volunteers come up and you have a bunch of these really shitty cherry tomatoes. I guess that would be a tomato in its most primitive form. So I mean, they're not bad, but they don't compare to the real deal. So you want to make sure you're using heirloom vegetable seed. And I mean, off 50 Roma tomato plants, I could feed my whole court. I could have them knee deep in tomatoes until early winter. So just another tip on how to save money, because you don't want to bury yourself in debt or spend a bunch of cash that you could use for beer money or whatever your thing is, wasting it on your garden. Because someone brought up a good point to me. Why grow your own food if you're going to waste tons of money in materials and just random shit to grow this food? If we're gonna grow food and spend money, you might as well go to the supermarket and buy it and save yourself some time and do something creative, because you're not farming at that point. So turn this kind of recreational gardening into more serious, legit farming by saving yourself extra money that can go towards more important things. And learn to identify these young plants as they come up, so you can save cash on those and you don't end up spraying them with Roundup like they're a weed. So anyway, I will have more example of volunteer tomato plants along with those violas and lobelias and whatever else I can find. You just have to keep a close eye to the ground, and you'll start to easily recognize these things. Alright, looks like it's gonna rain here in the next day or two, so that'll be great. And please subscribe to my channel, and please check out my Facebook page. I have the link there on my YouTube channel, so feel free to add me as a friend on Facebook also. Take care, have a great weekend, and I guess it's Monday, so have a great week. Take it easy.